If you're Ugandan, I'm sure you have seen or experienced floods, heard of droughts, famine, landslides. And yes, that's the usual with climate change, a song that has been sung and preached. You also know its effects: displacement, hunger, death, loss, same old, same old. But you may not think about one more thing: mental health. Maybe you have, but to many of us, it's the least of the long list of problems. Something about Africans and mental health. I am Winter Walter Muganzi, and today I want us to speak all things mental health and climate change. Picture this: a maize or tomato farmer times their season. The output is their livelihood and lifeline, not just for them, but their dependents. Then boom, it pours. Or the sun just says, a few more weeks, maybe months. As this happens, what do you think will be the mental state of this farmer and their dependents? Right there is where I want us to focus: the interlink between climate change and mental health. But first, let's define it all.
So mental health is just a state of being. Where are you in terms of your thoughts? Where are you in terms of your health? Where are you in terms of your existence? And you cannot talk mental health without talking about the environment someone is in and how it affects them. A person does not exist in a vacuum. Mental health exists in a person, and that person exists in an environment. Most people's mental health is affected by factors from within their environment.
Now, let's bring it home. Uganda's economy is heavily dependent on agriculture, with a large portion of the population relying on rain-fed farming for their livelihoods. If we are talking numbers, 46% of Ugandans depend on agriculture for survival. The changing weather patterns make it hard to predict rainfall, since it no longer follows familiar cycles, and therefore, farmers can no longer predict planting or harvest seasons. Rising temperatures, on the other hand, make it difficult to till and prepare land. Even when planting takes place, it becomes impossible for the plants to sprout and produce yields.
When the rain comes, rather than taking 3 months, it would take 5 months. And not tiny rains, of heavy torrential rains where you can't do anything productive. All those channel into a place where people get anxious because they don't know what tomorrow holds. The means that would help you to control your life are not within your control because of the climate change that has happened.
While urban areas are affected, today we are focusing on rural areas that make up 70% of the population. They are also heavily dependent on agriculture, whether subsistently or commercially.
And the spike, shockingly, has always been within the rural areas, more than the city center. The city center, we have coping mechanisms. Heat will not frustrate you. You'll put on the AC and survive.
Now, if you know our cultures, you know that women tend to the gardens. And if we are speaking statistics, they make up more than half of Uganda's agriculture workforce. We are talking 76%. With that in mind, imagine the mental toll it would have on a woman who has just lost her entire season's investment to drought or flooding.
I will take you to a woman who is deep within Bududa. She has a farm that she has cultivated for some time without the rains, borrowing a few skills here to irrigate, and her farm is thriving. She's about to hit harvest. And because of the unpredictable patterns of rain, a rain comes and washes away that whole part of the hill. Even the valley where she may have rice to fall back to because of the landslides, she has lost that. Now this is a person who has not just herself, not just her children, not just her extended family. She has other people that are dependent on her.
There are parts of this country that have seen natural disasters due to climate change, not once, but multiple times. Districts like Kotido in the arid Karamoja sub-region face repeated droughts that destroy up to 90% of crops, according to the Ministry of Water and Environment. Reports have also recorded over 7 droughts since 2017. On the other hand, districts in the mountainous Elgon region like Bududa and Mbale are prone to suffering deadly land and mudslides and floods. In 2023 alone, over 500 families were displaced across 12 sub-counties in Bududa district, and their plantations were destroyed during these landslides, and they were all displaced. Now imagine the pain and emotional turmoil that comes with not knowing what you will feed your children for the next months. That is the reality for many breadwinners. Anxiety, stress, suicidal ideations, and depression are some of the issues that arise out of this. Many turn to alcoholism as a coping mechanism, leading to addiction, while others abandon the trade, with many experiencing grief and post-traumatic stress.
Now that person ends up being disengaged from the desire to do the things that they ordinarily do. They start isolating themselves. They resort to things like alcoholism, in things like addictions, in things such as suicidal tendencies. What's going to happen? She's going to start having dissociated disorders where her personalities are not the same. The person she presents to her husband is different from the person the children meet.
So what, you may ask? Let's look at the mental health care in Uganda. The budget of mental health services in Uganda is less than 1% of the total health budget. Access to mental health services in the country remains under Butabika, Uganda's only mental referral hospital, which is also deeply underfunded. What happens then to people in rural areas? People that can barely access a primary health care center. That tells you how we perceive mental health care as a country. It's no wonder we deal with such issues at a cultural level, which for many, that's not good news.
Culture explains it away as spirituality. Not to water that down, because it may have truth in it, but get into a place where you put down people and silence them in the name of, oh, it's witchcraft. You need to go and do something to correct it, rather than let's talk about actually what you are feeling.
Mental health care in Uganda remains scarce, especially in rural areas. However, civil society organizations have stepped in to fill the gap, and to their credit, something is being done. In rural communities, organizations have implemented group therapy, a cost-effective method, while others have come in to fill the gap by providing seedlings and training on how to combat the effects of climate change. At the 2023 Mental Health Summit hosted by Strong Minds Uganda, it was revealed that Uganda treated 239,672 cases of depression, more than the combined total in all previous years. Many of these cases stem directly from climate-related displacement, loss, and trauma. This is a step in the right direction. While we look on and hope that something is done, this is what I leave you with. Call that farmer, the relative in a disaster-ridden place. Listen to them, be kind, and if you know resources that they can utilize, please avail them.